2-0 up against Brighton. Brighton have made a change, by the way, so Adam Lallana has come off and Tariq Lamptey has come on. Paul's going to have a look and see what that's done to the shape of Brighton as Manchester City take the kick-off. They're kicking from right to left as we look at it. So as the beach ball bounces around the Brighton fans in the away end, they had moments in the first half, Brighton, but they were blown away just by 4, 5, 6 touches really from Erling Haaland that might well have taken this game away from them already. Long diagonal ball from City from back to front. Solly March has done really well for Brighton and has got away down the left-hand side. Good-looking cross. It was just too close to Ederson, who really read it exceptionally well, to be honest, and he bowls it out on the left-hand side for Cancelo.
Good forward play by Solly March, who actually got forward because they've changed the positions now. Lamptey's come on, they've kept the 3 at the back, but Solly March has gone into a left wing-back position, and Lamptey's come over into this right wing-back position in an area where they think they can affect City by pushing their wide men backwards rather than forwards.
Good feet from Grealish, finds Kevin De Bruyne, who rides a challenge and gets the ball out to the far side to Riyad Mahrez. Not seen Mahrez this season yet drift inside and aim that ball into the top corner, or putting that killer cross and just take those defenders on. He hasn't started the games that he did last season or had the effect so far for Manchester City, and he'll be looking to get on the assists or get in on the goal-scoring action for City in the second half, as that ball's put out of play by Ederson, and it's a throw-in for Brighton on the far side, midway inside the City half, playing in bright sort of neon crimson, this away kit of Brighton. Lamptey gets his first touch, and he is quick down the right-hand side. He's got a one-on-one situation, but he's forced to check back. Veltman's got a chance to cross. There are 4 in the penalty area, and that's offside against Gross. That's a bit sloppy. It was a good position for Brighton to be in, as Accrington lead Bolton now by 2-0. An own goal has put Accrington 2-0 in the lead in League One. Manchester City 2, Brighton 0, 5 Live and the World Service. John Akers with Paul Robinson. Ederson's got the ball in his own penalty area. It'd be strange if he had it in the opposition penalty area, wouldn't it? Orange boots, all in maroon, aims a long kick forward, headed by Dunk in front of Haaland. Haaland, though, wins the second ball and just walks off limping. Might well have got a kick there or a little strain, and he's gone down on his haunches. Erling Haaland deep in the Brighton half with the ball nowhere near him, and he's still limping here, Erling Haaland. Might have been a little kick that I didn't spot. Paul, did you spot what that was?
Yeah, I think Lewis Dunk has had enough of him, in all honesty. The first half, the first opportunity he gets in the second half, he goes, right, there you go, you can have one of them for your troubles. Brighton
are in possession, going to the byline, putting in a cross, deflected. Ederson comes, drops it, but Danny Welbeck can't quite toe poke it out of his grasp, and Ederson has hold of the ball.
He was slow to react there, Welbeck. It was quite a tame ball coming into the box, that one that you'd expect Ederson to deal with quite comfortably. Looped up off the defender, and Ederson didn't deal with it, he dropped it, and because Welbeck was expecting him to deal with it, he was caught on his haunches.
Lamptey on Cancelo, free kick Manchester City, 5 yards in from the left-hand touchline inside their own half. Bernardo Silva is inside his own penalty area on a run here, twisting and turning, little drag back. He's still going, Bernardo Silva. What's he doing back there as he gives it to Jack Grealish, who's also on a run midway inside the City half? And that's a crude challenge coming in from Veltman, but referee has played advantage. Jack Grealish gets himself up from the deck. De Bruyne goes in for a challenge on halfway. Brighton have done really well here. Caicedo, and they've won a free kick 30 yards from goal. They think about taking it quickly, but Aymeric Laporte is out to stop them, and this is maybe an opportunity for someone like Gross or McAllister to put one on target and put Ederson under pressure.
Yeah, real opportunity here for Brighton earlier on in the second half. City are feeling really aggrieved because they thought it was a foul on Grealish first, which I think it was, but it was on the referee's blind side. He couldn't see it. Veltman came across him with his arm and put him to the ground, lost possession, then Brighton gained possession, and they've got a free kick in a dangerous position. The way they've shaped up, it doesn't look like they're going to have a shot on target.
No, they're going to dink one into the penalty area here, aren't they? And they've got 5 in a line, partially in sunlight, across the 18-yard box, as City have everyone back. In it comes from Gross. Good-looking ball in. He's just overhit it, though, and it goes all the way through for a goal kick to Manchester City. In the Championship, it's Stoke 0, Coventry 1, and we've had a goal at the Madejski. Reading versus Bristol City. Chris, Wise?
Poor game. Reading goal, Reading 1, Bristol City 0. Mamadou Loum, powerful header from a corner. His first for Reading this season, and Reading lead Bristol City 1-0.
Sorry, Chris, I almost got my former BBC Radio Solon Chris's in a muddle there. Chris Wise at Reading, Chris Temple is at Millwall for us this afternoon as Tariq Lamptey brings the ball out of defence. Got a little shove there from Erling Haaland, who puts his head in his hands as if to say, no way was that a free kick, but Brighton do take it quickly, and they have it with Gross on the right-hand side. Ball inside to Leandro Trossard. Lamptey tries to go around the outside of Cancelo. He's already causing problems, Tariq Lamptey, and Brighton are in possession with Veltman on the halfway line. Pep Guardiola on the edge of his technical area in his maroon hoodie, and Roberto De Zerbi all in black with white trainers on the edge of his technical area. In League One, we've had a goal at Bristol Rovers at the start of the second half. Let's go to Laura Kenyon.
It's Bristol Rovers 1, Plymouth 2. The home side have one back. Josh Coburn, the substitute with the goal, bundled over the line from close range. The sellout crowd are singing now. Bristol Rovers 1, Plymouth 2.
Brighton are in possession. Little ball into the penalty area from McAllister, and he thought that Trossard was going to read the ball and make the run, and he didn't, and it's all the way through to Edison and the Manchester City goal. So we'll get an update from Goodison Park. John Bennett.
Everton 1, Crystal Palace 0, but Crystal Palace have woken up in this second half. They had a penalty appeal turned down. Coleman with what looked like a really good challenge on Zaha.
Mahrez, good save, sorry John, from Sanchez. Brighton have cleared the danger. Best chance of the game for Riyad Mahrez. Danger still not clear. Haaland, McAllister, back to Sanchez, who clears. Carry on, John Bennett at Goodison.
Michael Elise with a shot just over the bar. Everton 1, Crystal Palace 0.
Crawley 3, Mansfield 2 in League 2. Forward come Brighton, down the left-hand side. Trossard, edge of the penalty area, fancies a shot and scores! That is a strike and a half from Leandro Trossard to give Brighton hope at the Etihad, and you should see their fans in that section. They are on their feet. Beautiful goal. It's Manchester City 2, Brighton 1, Trossard.
What a goal, Leandro Trossard. Brighton do deserve this in the second half. They've come more and more into the game, and it's the danger man Trossard who in the first half caused City a few problems, but they come more into it in the second half. City are sloppy with possession, lose possession deep in their own half. Trossard picks the ball up on the corner of the box, cuts inside, opens himself up. You think he's going across Edison, and he slams it into Edison's near post. The goalkeeper will be disappointed, but it's a fantastic strike by Trossard. Brighton are back in this.
That was with his swinger as well, his right foot. I thought it might have taken a little flick off a Manchester City defender, but it doesn't, and Brighton have had a real go at City at the start of this second half. They could have been 3-0 down Mahrez just before that, but they've managed to claw their way back into the game. Oxford United 1, Peterborough 2 in League One. Burnley have got one back at Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 2, Burnley 1. It's Teller. And let's go into League 2. Let's go to Stevenage and Shoujo. Sorry, let's go to, bear with me, Sunderland. Shoujo.
Yes, Sunderland 2, Burnley 1. It is Nathan Teller, as you say, John. Close range header, came from a corner. Taylor Harwood-Bellis set him up, and he finished coolly. Sunderland 2, Burnley 1.
And we've had a yellow card for Riyad Mahrez, and it's a free kick for Brighton at the Etihad, where it's really come to life. Manchester City 2, Brighton 1. 5 Live in the World Service.
2 wide players for Brighton really making a difference. Leandro Trossard again down that side, draws the foul out of Mahrez, and Brighton now got a really dangerous free kick wide. They've got opportunity to load the box and put a real delivery in on top of Edison.
Free kick is about 3 yards in from the left-hand touchline. It's a chance for a cross. There are 4 in the penalty area waiting for this free kick. In it comes, right-footed in-swinger to the near post, partially headed clear, and Solly March, his first touch just lets him down, and it's out for a goal kick to Manchester City. Manchester City 2, Brighton 1.
So disappointing delivery there. He had such an opportunity to put the ball in the box and a goal-scoring chance. The manager there, Roberto De Zerbi, turns around, kicks a water bottle over. He knows his side aren't going to get that many chances in the second half. They had a golden opportunity to deliver it, and they couldn't miss the first man.
10 minutes of the second half gone. St Mirren 1, Dundee United 1. Stephen Fletcher has scored there, and Bolton have got one back at Accrington in League 1. Accrington 2, Bolton 1. Caicedo for Brighton. Into the goal scorer for Brighton, Trossard, who scored a hat-trick at Anfield, don't forget. Another one here would be handy for his manager, Roberto De Zerbi. Caicedo, lovely skill from him, the 20-year-old Ecuadorian. Really good play. Brought it out the sky and then switches the play to the right-hand side. Brighton look like a different team at the moment. Lamptey, infield to McAllister. They've got loads forward here, Brighton. Gross. McAllister again, 35 yards from goal. Manchester City are back in numbers. Pep Guardiola looking pensive on the edge of his technical area. Solly March by the left-hand touchline for Brighton now, in that sunlight. And they've got room with Caicedo. Two waiting in the middle. In comes the low cross, headed away by Manchester City. McAllister, though, picks up the second ball. Might fancy a shot. Reverse pass. Chance here for Brighton again. Trossard is robbed of the ball by Rodri, but he's given it straight back to Brighton and to Trossard, back to goal in the penalty area. He goes back to Caicedo, who switches the play to Veltman. City under real pressure here from Brighton. Lamptey on the right-hand side. Level with the edge of the 18-yard box. Stops, checks, goes back inside. McAllister, Veltman, Brighton keeping possession, and City's fans roaring on the home side.
Really good sustained possession from Brighton. You've got to give them a lot of credit for the way that they've come out in this second half. Again, Lamptey on this near side causing problems.
Lamptey, cross right-footed, chance again for Brighton. Oh, diving in at the far post was Leandro Trossard, and he says it got a flick off a Man City head. Roberto De Zerbi is off down the touchline, furious with the assistant, but it is a Manchester City goal kick.
Very good again by Brighton. Lamptey especially this side. Cancelo doesn't get near to him, puts the ball into the box, and then that man Trossard again tries to get across Akanji at the far post. Brighton were unhappy that Akanji lent on him a little bit, and I think they were looking for a penalty, but I think it's a lot more positive signs from Brighton in this second half, really is.
Carlisle 1, Leyton Orient 3 now in League 2. Rotherham 1, Hull 2 in the Championship, and Motherwell 1, Aberdeen 1 in the Scottish Premiership. Let's go to Sandy Park. Exeter Chiefs versus Saracens. Gareth Lewis.
Yeah, the leaders Saracens again against the run of play back in front. An Owen Farrell penalty to make it 13-10. They're edging back into this though, and Exeter down to 14 men with Harvey Skinner in the sin bin. Exeter 10, Saracens 13.
Goal kick here for Brighton. It was an overhit pass, a rare one from Kevin De Bruyne, who has obviously been in the game, but 9 assists in 10 matches so far this season. He's been unbelievable, providing assists. He's the fastest to 9 assists in a season, along with Fabregas and Kane, as Mahrez has got it at the byline and puts in a right foot cross, and it's blocked. It's Veltman, and it's a corner for Manchester City. Paul Robinson.
Excellent again by Haaland, hold-up play, little ball over the top. Mahrez had a really good opportunity, good block in the end by the Brighton defence. City just starting to come into the game a little bit in the second half now.
Short corner. Mahrez has got it 30 yards from goal. Little step over. Might fancy a shot here, Mahrez, but he's being well policed by Tariq Lamptey of Brighton. Cross is going to come in from the right-hand side towards Erling Haaland. Headed away, protecting the back four is Welbeck. Bernardo Silva gets shoved out of the way by Caicedo. High hanging ball from Diaz towards the edge of the Brighton penalty area, and Sanchez comes out and snaffles it ahead of Kevin De Bruyne. Let's get an update from Goodison Park. John Bennett.
Everton 1, Crystal Palace 0. Amazing pace and energy to this game. Dominic Calvert-Lewin almost had his second around the goalkeeper, but forced wide. Everton 1, Crystal Palace 0.
Matty Taylor's been sent off for Oxford United in League 1. Oxford 0, Peterborough United 2, and St Mirren are 2-1 up against Dundee United. League 2, Harrogate 1, Tranmere 1. And you are up to date on the fastest goal service around 5 Live Sport and the World Service, as Phil Foden is about to come on, as Brighton are in possession and looking for an equaliser. Trossard, corner of the penalty area, swings in across. Acrobatic clearance by Aymeric Laporte in front of Danny Welbeck. Now it's Solly March, left-hand side, midway inside the City half. Phil Foden is in the technical area with his manager, getting some last-minute words of advice. Haaland with a rare touch this second half. Toe pokes it to Jack Grealish. Good football from City, and away they go down the left-hand side now with Cancelo, who's forced to check inside. Lamptey's so quick. Lovely cross-field ball to Mahrez. This is the kind of position he likes, but that's brilliant defending back there from Brighton. A strong challenge from Gross. Play on, says Craig Pawson, the referee, and he's going to bring it back. Is he going to book Rodri here for diving? He's got his yellow card out. Paul Robinson.
I can't see him booking Rodri for diving there. There was clear contact. I think that's a perfect example of the more leniency that we're seeing with referees. Rodri's clearly hurt, so he's caught him. I think he's booking for somebody for the chat that they've given the referee afterwards. Just looking at the incident again, he clearly catches Rodri there. How the referee's not given a free kick, I don't know. I think the yellow card was given for after the incident, unless one of his assistants or the other officials has told him in his ear that there was contact, and it looks to me like he's given the free kick. There was clear contact. The referee's taken advice from his assistant, given the free kick and given a yellow card.
St Mirren's goal was disallowed. St Mirren won, Dundee United won in the Scottish Premiership, and it's going to be Riyad Mahrez coming off for Phil Foden. He's had one massive chance to make it 3-0. If he scores that, the game's out of sight, you think, but Brighton are right in it at 2-1 as they went pretty much straight up the other end with Leandro Trossard and scored. But it's not a bad sub to have, is it, Phil Foden?
Especially not the form that he's in. I think he'll be looking forward to playing a little bit more advanced this week than he did against Liverpool. He'll play on that right-hand side with Grealish over here on the left. Foden will be looking to cut in on his left foot.
Let's quickly go to the Memorial Ground. Bristol Rovers versus Plymouth in League One. Laura Kenyon.
Bristol Rovers 2, Plymouth 2. Ryan Loft flicked it on to Aaron Collins deep in the box. Lovely link-up play, and Collins buried his 9th of the season. Joey Barton's side, they've equalised against the league leaders, 2-2.
Sounds like a good game, that, as Phil Foden straight into the action, might want to take this free kick. It's midway inside the Brighton half. It's going to be a cross rather than a shot, we think. Kevin De Bruyne is going to drift one in. Into the middle it goes. Header one by Laporte, but it's wide, and it'll be a Brighton goal kick. Let's go to Bramall Lane. Goal, Lee Blakeman.
Sheffield United back in it. Sheffield United 1, Norwich 2. Sharp found Ben Osborne, left side of the area, hard and low, across goal. Half an hour to play. Sheffield United 1, Norwich 2.
Always good games. Lee gets up there. Expects another 4 or 5. It's like a goal magnet. Rodri for Manchester City, on halfway. Here's a first touch for Phil Foden, and a second, and a third, and a fourth, and a fifth, and he's still got it. And he gives it to Bernardo Silva, who's on the lip of the centre circle, twisting and turning and looking for an angle and looking for a run from the Manchester City player. Leading by 2-1. Erling Haaland with his 16th and 17th Premier League goals of the season in 10.5 matches. The ball falls for Foden, running forward. Strong challenge from Caicedo, who's on a yellow card but has still been putting in some brilliant challenges. Foden on the left-hand side. In comes his cross, and it's chested back to the goalkeeper Sanchez by Webster. Brighton are in possession in their own penalty area. Ball back with Sanchez. Let's go to Goodison again. Everton versus Palace. John Bennett.
Everton have the ball in the back of the net, but the flag is up. Anthony Gordon thought he'd scored after an excellent save by Guaita, but the flag has gone up, so it's still 1-0 to Everton against Crystal Palace, who have made a double change. Mateta and Schlupp are on there, giving it a real go now, Crystal Palace. Everton 1, Crystal Palace 0.
Carlisle 2 late, Orient 3 in League 2, and Coventry are 2-0 up in the Championship at Stoke City, as Manchester City are in possession on the halfway line. Let's get an update from the Stadium of Light. Sunderland-Burnley, Shojo Saka.
Burnley have an equaliser. It's Sunderland 2, Burnley 2. It's substitute Manuel Benson cutting in from the side. A long shot from 25 yards out. The defence missed it, the keeper missed it. It's Sunderland 2, Burnley 2.
Hull 3-1 up at Rotherham as well in the Championship. And Veltman's going to need some attention here, so he's going to get some treatment as the players come across to the near sides to get a drink, some of them. Roberto De Zerbi wants his Brighton players around. They've been very, very good in the second half. Scored a brilliant goal through Leandro Trossard. How do you see this one at the moment, Paul Robinson?
I think the biggest change that they made at half-time was they put Solly March to left wing-back in behind Trossard, and him and Trossard on that left-hand side have caused City so many problems. And I think that's what's made Pep change Mahrez, because Mahrez defensively maybe doesn't give you as much as Foden does. So I think to counteract that, he's brought Foden on to try and push Brighton back on that side. But Brighton have done a really good account of themselves in this second half, and there's still a game to be played.
Let's go back to Goodison, to John Bennett.
Everton 2, Crystal Palace 0. Anthony Gordon's goal has been given. It was disallowed at the time by the assistant referee, who raised his flag. Mikalenko's shot saved by the keeper. Gordon knocked it into the back of the net. Everton 2, Crystal Palace 0.
Thank you, John. We're going to have a change here for Brighton. So Enciso is going to come on, or is it Estupiñán who's going to come on? We'll have a look. Estupiñán, I think it could be. And Veltman is going to go off here.
It won't mean a change of shape. It'll be a like-for-like change. Injury there to Veltman. They'll keep the same shape. They'll keep the same system. It's worked well for them in this second half, but it's been an enforced change that the manager won't have wanted to make.
Brighton in possession in their own penalty area. Manchester City 2, Brighton 1 on 5 Live and BBC World Service. On the halfway line, Bernardo Silva. This could have been out of sight, this, but Brighton are right in it. Ederson switches the play to the far side, and it's picked up in midfield by Brighton, who've won the ball back, and forward come Brighton through the middle. They might have a chance here. McAllister, he's going to hit one, and it's high over the crossbar, only by a couple of yards, to be honest, but Ederson looked like he may have it covered, and it's a goal kick to Manchester City.
They look good yet again, Brighton. They look a different team to the one that came out in the first half. The one playing second half is one that we've seen so often, pressing high, creating chances, but they just lack that cutting edge. We've had the Trossard goal. You just wonder how adventurous they're going to be for the last part of this game. The next goal in this game, I know we say it so often, is going to be vital. It's going to be key. If City get the next goal, then it could be all over. Brighton get the next goal, then we've got a really interesting last quarter of this game.
We are 67 minutes in as Haaland goes chasing after Dunk and pushes him over. He was eating up the ground behind Lewis Dunk there, but the referee, Craig Pawson, was right on top of it. Has given the free kick to Brighton. Haaland with both City goals on 22 and 43. The second one a penalty. Trossard on 53 for Brighton. 23 minutes of the game remaining. Manchester City 2, Brighton 1. Wimbledon are 2-0 up in League 2 at Rochdale. Josh Davidson. And Rochdale have actually just got one back. Tyrese Sinclair. So Rochdale 1, Wimbledon 2. Caicedo for Brighton in his own half.
I like the way Haaland just lifted his shirt and showed the referee his bicep then after he gave him a free kick against him for that foul on Dunk. Lifted the top of his shirt up as if to say, that's what did it, ref.
Just too strong, too quick. They've kept him quiet so far in this second half, but he proved in the first half he doesn't really need to touch the ball very often. When he does, it's incisive, to say the least.
He's been very quiet this second half, but that's credit that you've got to give for Brighton for the way that they've approached it. He's had very, very few touches or opportunities in this second half.
Charlton lead in League 1 at Shrewsbury. Raksaki with the goal, and Manchester City are in possession deep in their own half as Diaz rolls the ball back to Ederson, who left-footed puts the ball straight out. Quite a good distance on the kick. It's out of play on the far side, and it's a throw-in for Brighton. You've got possession deep in their own half. Solly March has looked good. No goal since November 2020. It's 2 years since he last scored a goal, but he has looked a threat for Brighton, as you say, Paul, as Brighton win the ball in their own half. De Bruyne was going for it, but McAllister's got possession, the Argentinian. 4 goals for him this season, and we know there are goals in this Brighton team, as they proved at Liverpool. Here's the goal scorer, Trossard, who does look very good indeed. I mean, with his right foot, it was past Ederson at his near post. So much power on it. Caicedo, McAllister, Lamptey, All this in their own half here for Brighton. Manchester City putting pressure on. You heard the thump of ball on boot there as Aymeric Laporte, in his first Premier League start of the season, came across and put the ball out of play for a Brighton throw. 15 yards inside the Manchester City half.
I know the Brighton result at Anfield was better than this one, but I think this second half performance is better than they played at any point during that game.
Lamptey into the feet of Welbeck on the halfway line. He's got loads of time and space, and he's still running with it. Danny Welbeck. Now the ball's with Caicedo. In fact, it's Estupiñán. And now into the feet of Welbeck, edge of the penalty area. He's back to goal. Caicedo, McAllister, 25 yards from goal, thinks about a shot. Now Lamptey. Lamptey might take one. McAllister again he's 25 yards from goal. Little chip ball, Lamptey's header, and there is Ederson to dive theatrically to his right and claim the ball. Lovely build-up play, lovely football from Brighton.
Again, McAllister at the heart of everything that Brighton do good. Just sitting on the edge of that box, 30 yards from goal. Lamptey makes a great run in behind the Man City defence. Cancelo and Grealish collide into each other. The smallest man on the park, Lamptey, gets a head on it, and then Ederson manages to get out of his 6-yard box, claim the ball, and Manchester City again on the attack.
On BBC Sounds, as Manchester City come forward, it's Haaland in the penalty area. Haaland with a look at goal. His shot is deflected behind for a corner over the crossbar. It's his first sighter. You just expected the net to bulge. Corner for Manchester City. Let's get to Sheffield United. Another goal, Lee Blakeman.
2-2, McBurney on as a sub, sliding in at the back post. Great finish, and this place has got absolutely crazy. From 2 down, Sheffield United are now level with Norwich at 2-2.
He won't be finished there, Lee, either. Greedy with his goals at Bramall Lane. He got a 3-3 there last week. Just hogging all the airtime. Corner for Manchester City on the right-hand side. Kevin De Bruyne goes across to take it. Right-footed away swinger. Laporte's header! Just wide. It was a really good leap. Sanchez was at full stretch, but just wide. Goal kick Brighton.
Great delivery by De Bruyne from that far side. Right foot out swinging. Misses the goalkeeper, the defenders. Out. Laporte knows what's coming, attacks it from deep. He's probably a little bit too... If it was on target, Sanchez had it covered.
In the Scottish Premiership, Motherwell 1, Aberdeen 2. Accrington have given up a 2-goal lead, and Bolton have come back to draw 2-2. Kieran Lee with the goal. Brighton in possession, deep in their own half. We've got team news from Stamford Bridge. Chelsea versus Manchester United. Our correspondent John Murray.
Well, Chelsea make 4 changes from midweek. Aubameyang, Sterling, Chilwell and Thiago Silva all come back in. So Havertz, Broja and Gallagher are on the bench. Koulibaly's not involved at all, so it looks like Azpilicueta at wing-back and Loftus-Cheek in midfield. And 1 change for Manchester United from midweek. Eriksen returns for Fred, and as you'll know, Ronaldo absent today after his midweek strop.
Thank you, John. Corner for Brighton. A really good run from Trossard, and a shot which was deflected behind for a Brighton corner in front of their own supporters on the far side. It's going to be a right-footed in-swinger, and they've got 6 bodies in the box here. Brighton looking for an equaliser at 2-2. In it comes, headed away at the near post by Erling Haaland, who put in some leap for Manchester City. Brighton have got the ball. Manchester City have got everyone back. Square ball towards Tariq Lamptey. Brighton having a real go. Trossard, the goal scorer, chips it forward towards Lamptey. Manchester City with a header clear, but only as far as Solly March. Back to goal by the corner flag, twisting and turning and doing really well, but then he's given the ball away with a little reverse pass to Tariq Lamptey, and this is the kind of position where maybe Manchester City will break, but Jack Grealish is challenged by Tariq Lamptey, and it's a throw to Manchester City. We've got a goal at Sunderland's Shojo Saka.
Sunderland 2, Burnley 3. It's an extraordinary turnaround, John. Burnley were 2-0 down, 3-2 up now. Anas Zaroury with this one. All his own work. Curling shot from the edge of the box past the keeper. Sunderland 2, Burnley 3.
It's all going off in the Championship. Goal at the Medeski at Reading, Chris Wise. Goal at Millwall, Chris Temple.
Goal that doesn't count here, unfortunately, John. The offside flag was up. It remains Millwall 1, West Brom 1. Tyler Bury's made a big impact since coming on as a sub for Millwall just before the hour. Curled a shot wide and from an identical position this time found the net, but the flag was up. It remains Millwall 1, West Brom 1.
Thank you, Chris. My Chris is in a mix again, in a twist. Manchester City in possession. Bernardo Silva running with the ball deep into the Brighton half, to the edge of the penalty area. Kevin De Bruyne in loads of space. Oh! What a goal! Kevin De Bruyne, 25 yards out, set himself. Curler, Sanchez beaten, and that should be it. Manchester City score 3 in a Premier League home game. Again, that's 10 in a row. Manchester City 3, Brighton 1.
Well, it's a De Bruyne special. Absolutely fantastic. You know what I mean when you say it's one of his best. Bernardo Silva running. If you're going out tonight, make sure you press record for Match of the Day. You won't want to miss that.
Oh, that was absolutely top draw from Kevin De Bruyne. Vintage. I'm trying to see whether it got a little flick on the way through off Caicedo, maybe off his shoulder. I don't think it did. Only he strikes a football like that. Kevin De Bruyne take a bow. That is his 3rd Premier League goal of the season. 9 assists for Kevin De Bruyne. It really is an exquisite goal.
That shows you what quality City have got. Brighton didn't deserve that. Brighton have been in the ascendancy in this half. They've had all the possession, they've had a couple of opportunities, and that's a real sucker punch for De Zerbi and his men, because they've played well this second half. City have hit them on the break. 2 little passes. Silva, De Bruyne, fantastic finish. That's what this team can do.
It's his 2nd goal of the season. Kevin De Bruyne. Let's go to the rugby at Sandy Park. Exeter versus Saracens. Gareth Lewis.
Yeah, Saracens have taken control and are taking this game away from Exeter. 3 second-half penalties, 2 from Owen Farrell, a monster from Elliot Daly. They now lead Exeter by 19 points to 10.
Gillingham 1, Barrow 1 in League 2. Bolton have come from 2-0 down to lead 3-2 at Accrington in League 1. We'll bring you all the goals as they go in, as Cole Palmer comes on for Jack Grealish here at the Etihad. A chance to see what he can do with that cushion now of 2 goals again. Paul Robinson.
He was getting the substitution ready before the goal, so it was one that was obviously looking like he was going to make, which sees Foden come onto this left side and Cole Palmer go out onto the right-hand side.
Webster in possession for Brighton. That's really knocked the wind out of Brighton's sails. They really were pushing for an equaliser, having a right go, but it's just the quality that Manchester City have got that they're able to do that, to get a little sighter 25 yards out, and for Kevin De Bruyne just to bend it into the top corner. It's classic. Let's go to Ewood Park. Blackburn, Birmingham. Aaron Paul.
Here we go, John. We have a goal for the visitors. They pull one back. Blackburn 2, Birmingham 1. Scott Hogan, after the ball was knocked down, he smashed it into the back of the net past Thomas Kaminski. Blackburn 2, Birmingham 1, 10 to go.
Throw in for Brighton here, right-hand side. Manchester City leading 3-1 on 5 Live Sport, BBC Sounds and the World Service. We've got 13 minutes plus added time. Manchester City in possession with Ruben Diaz. They've won the ball back through Solly March, and March has won a free kick on the halfway line, boots it against the legs of Bernardo Silva, and we're going to see a change here for Brighton.
De Bruyne's brilliance there, been involved in 5 goals in his 4 home games, scored 2, 3 assists, just shows you his quality.
Danny Welbeck's coming off, and as a former Manchester United player is getting roundly booed, as you would expect, and fellow striker Deniz Undav is on the way onto the field. And thank you to Benji a little bit earlier on, Patrick Keelty's show, who gave me a great stat about Danny Welbeck, who sits in his seat and grabs a tuna sandwich as Brighton are in possession, but the flag's gone up. This will be pulled back, and it will be a free kick to Manchester City deep in their own half. St Mirren